You may experience violent behavior, painful photophobia, muscle stiffness, disrobing, dysphoria, confusion, and amnesia, just to name a few. And considering the fact that some of these can last up to 2 weeks long, that alone sounds like hell. One user on a drug forum had this to say about Datura. You trip so hard, you don't even know that you took Datura. You forget, because your memories are imaginary. You could have conversations with friends that you knew from high school, and you could just sit there for 2 hours having conversations with this good friend of yours until you realize that you never even knew this person, and there was nobody else in the room with you at all. Another user claimed, I took Datura. For the next 24 to 36 hours, I was scurrying around my house, fully convinced that there were spies watching me from the roofs of neighboring houses. I could hear them on my roof and stayed away from the windows so they couldn't watch me. And then I started seeing my ex-girlfriend who left me 2 months ago watching me from around all the corners and doors of the house, grinning maniacally, but she would disappear every time I would look. I had several panic attacks and cried from relief when it wore off and I realized I was tripping. But I didn't realize any of it was a hallucination during the experience. Horrifying stuff. I could literally go on for days reading Datura horror stories, and that's simply because almost every experience with this plant is a negative one, which shouldn't be a surprise considering this plant is literally used as a poison. I honestly don't know why anybody would even consider taking this considering all of the information that is now known about it. Literally tried to find a good trip report on this stuff. I couldn't, but it still somehow isn't even the worst entry on this list. Tranq. If you thought fentanyl was scary, Tranq is literally your worst nightmare. Tranq gets its name because of one of its ingredients, known as xylazine. Xylazine is primarily used as a tranquilizer for large mammals, such as horses or cows. This drug was actually first synthesized in 1962 in Germany to treat hypertension, although during testing it was rather quickly shown that this was too strong and too dangerous for human consumption. The FDA denied it, and it is only approved for veterinary uses, which is of course why humans are taking it now. Although it was a wise decision to pull this drug and do no more human testing, that has left us with little to no information on how xylazine affects the human body, which will definitely play into the danger component. The exact origin of the recreational use of this drug is unknown, but at least in the United States of America, it is speculated that this was first used recreationally in Puerto Rico. But this leads to another problem, and the likely reason for this recreational use is because of access. Similar to U47700, this drug is not illegal. Because it has been approved by the FDA for veterinary uses, it is not a scheduled substance. And although it is regulated and ideally only sold to registered veterinarians, there are still shady distributors that are legally selling it online without requiring any proof of veterinary status, which, because of the lack of scheduling, makes this, for the most part, legal. Drug manufacturers and distributors for a while now have been using fentanyl to cut heroin to bring down costs. But now these same people are cutting fentanyl with xylazine to, again, keep costs down, all at the ultimate cost of the user's life. It's